Hello and welcome to the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla. Of course, I am known as your mayor of PHNX, and this show is brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use our code of PHNX, and simply for betting $1 on any NFL team to score a single point, you will get $100 in free bets when either team scores. And again, we've talked about when the last 0-0 tie was, so go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Today, guys, of course, I am joined by my vice mayor, my friend, my co-host, the one and only Thunderstick, Jesse Friedman.
Good to be with you, Derek. We're excited to have Patrick joining us with his incredible mane that he's here to show off today.
Yeah, that's all I'm really here to talk about is how good his hair actually is. I took a picture with him earlier today.
How was that, Derek?
It wasn't great.
How'd you feel?
So, I got a haircut. I was feeling pretty good about myself. As you can see, I got lined up. I got the hard part. Okay, I made him sit 2 rows behind me to take the picture because I couldn't just directly be in the same comparison next to him head to head.
Sure.
No, he had to be a couple of rows back where it was a little bit hard to see him. I made him put on a hat. But it's understandable. Coming to us from our friends over at DNVR, it's our business cousins. And when I say that, I think of the Thundercats when, they had the other Thundercats come in. I guess we're kind of the other Thundercats in this situation. But joining us is the one and only Patrick Lyons from DNVR. Patrick, buddy, welcome to the show. How are you, sir? Oh, my God, look at this man. Look at this man. I talk
about crossovers. I gotta say, I'm really Lion-O. I got the Lion-O hair going.
I know.
I got the mane.
Yeah.
You want to talk Thundercats?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Well, how are you, buddy? You are here in Arizona with us. We're not all in the same room, but you and I have been spending a lot of time together out at Arizona Fall League.
Oh, it's been so much fun. It's been such a blast, getting to see some of these young guys up close and personal and have these exclusive one-on-one interviews with them and finally get to see them and learn a little bit about what else is going on in the NL West. Seen a couple games at Camelback Ranch to see who the Dodgers have. Spoiler, they're loaded with guys you've never heard of that are going to be the next.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh, we're losing you, unfortunately, a little bit there, but it's the Dodgers are absolutely stacked. That team today just beat the brakes off of the Rafters. It was the Desert Dogs out in Glendale. So, but yeah, the weather has been beautiful. I've been going to these Fall League games with you, and to be honest, I've really enjoyed being around baseball again. You said it to me when we were at the game, but it just feels like you're closer to the game when you go to spring training games and these AFL games than you get anywhere else.
Yeah, because it becomes more about the sport. It becomes about the game versus the spectacle of being at the stadium and paying $20 for a beer and a hot dog and $45 for a cap. It's really about what's going on the field, learning the players' names. And really, it's like an investment of your time to find out what's going to come next, especially if you're sticking around late in a spring training game. You want to find out, all right, who's maybe going to be down in AA and AAA by the time the 7th or 8th inning rolls around.
Yeah. And not only that, but I mean, I don't know. Like you said, the concessions were nice. I got a gigantic hot dog for $6 out at Surprise Stadium. Jesse,
really? Okay.
It was It was the biggest hot dog I've eaten in years. It was absurdly big. I don't want to go on and start sounding ridiculous like I'm going to when I start sounding about both length and girth of this hot dog, but it made me feel inadequate as an eater, if you get what I'm saying. And again, $6, so you can't be too mad about that. But weather in Arizona in November, coming from Colorado, what are your thoughts? I know today was
do we have to talk about Arizona weather right now?
Yeah, we have to. It was hot out, Jesse. It was hot out
really?
there.
Okay, all right.
It's 80 degrees, but it's a very hot 80 degrees.
In Colorado, it was in the mid-70s over the weekend, too. So this whole region has been experiencing a bit of a heat wave here in the autumn. But, yeah, Phoenix weather has been really nice, given some Southern California vibes, minus any water. But enjoying the palm trees, enjoying the kind of laid back vibe. Definitely has a concrete jungle feel to it.
Yeah.
I've never been to Arizona in the summertime, just spring training, and as well as the beginning of the 2018 season when the Rockies opened up in Arizona. So never really got to feel the full impact of the sun, but I can imagine standing outside for even a second at a time, that concrete jungle can be brutal.
You want to keep it that way, Patrick. Don't come in the summer. We'll come and visit you when the Diamondbacks are in Denver. You don't want to come here. Just telling you that right now.
It's like I was telling you earlier. The great Peggy Hill from King of the Hill said, "This city is a monument to man's arrogance," and that's exactly what it is out here in the middle of the desert. It's hot, even on a beautiful fall day in November, but we can't get away from it. You brought up the Dodgers and how stacked they are. Obviously, we're in this fight together. At times, I think the Dodgers or the Diamondbacks and the Rockies just need to come together, like two lonesome fighters in a knife fight.
If they like joined forces.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. I wanted to get your thoughts though from your franchise's perspective on just the NL West. Is it as daunting to you guys to go up against these, California teams that are all very good and seem like they're going to be good for a long time, as it is for the Diamondbacks?
Absolutely. That's being in the same division as a powerhouse like the Dodgers really makes it, very challenging. And also considering that for much of the year, they're really the only one in that Mountain Standard Time zone. So they've got to compete with that and traveling west and everything that comes involved into that. But one of the trickiest issues, I think, and Derek, you and I, we've talked about it, Jesse, I think we've had those conversations too, is this idea of how you combat that and how do you recognize when you've got a window of contention, and what do you do when you are out of that window of contention? Do you tear it all down? Do you, trade away your best veterans in hopes of building up the farm system for future years? It's something that the Rockies really don't do. It's something that they're not a big fan of. They're going to lose Trevor Story here, and if he, signs more of a pillow contract for less than $50 million, the compensation pick they get will only be somewhere in the 70th overall selection. So not quite what they were hoping when discussing trade possibilities at the deadline. And for John Gray, they'll get nothing. So that's something you can't do if you need to make sure every move that you make is correct. The Dodgers can make a million wrong moves and still be okay. The Rockies, not as much. Diamondbacks, not as much.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. We talk about, like Jesse just had a piece on the website on gophnx.com about the Zach Greinke contract.
Fantastic article too, by the way, Jesse.
Yeah, they just also have, like that same thing going now with Madison Bumgarner. Like you were saying, it's not really a mistake, but that much money invested in one person makes such a big difference to a team like the D-backs than it does for the Dodgers. The Dodgers can invest that in someone, have it not really work out, and still supplement the team with this talent from all over the place, whether it's more guys they pick up out of free agency or guys that they already had on the team or guys coming up from their farm system. It seems like they just have this wealth of talent from every direction. I
say this phrase a lot. I haven't said it in the last month or so, but it's if you take care of the little things, the big things take care of themselves. And so I think the Dodgers do all of those little things really well with analytics, developing the international market. There's young free agents, and you have to do all of that so incredibly well everywhere because it's such a crapshoot, especially if we're talking about amateur ball players and the path that it takes to go from signing that first professional contract to being a contributing member to a major league club. So you've got to do all those things really well. And a misstep, especially in free agency, the Rockies had the same issue where they spent $106 million on 3 relief pitchers who at the time you said, hey, those were the final pieces to help keep the window open so that it becomes 3, 4, maybe even a 5-year window of contention. That did not work out well. Ian Desmond also did not work out well. In fact, the last 2 years, he didn't even play for them. He didn't even bother showing up in that capacity. So that's a challenge. And for the Rockies, they've gone about basically sitting on their hands and saying, hey, you know what? We're just not going to participate in that anymore. Now they've said they're going to add some payroll this offseason and want to try to add a power bat. Nick Castellanos might be too rich for their blood. Kyle Schwarber could be within their range since it could be less than $100 million. But even at $80 million, that's a deal that was more than what was given to Ian Desmond. And Ian Desmond was jammed into a corner at first base, position he hadn't really played before, but he's athletic enough to make it work. Did okay, still underperformed. Whereas Kyle Schwarber might be a guy that doesn't have the shortstop and middle infield pedigree as an Ian Desmond, might not have a true position. So it could end up working out even worse. So the Rockies are damned if they do, damned if they don't. Some of it is unlucky. Some of it is, look, you make the luck for yourself that you make, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I also think, when you talk about the success that the Dodgers have had, we can credit their farm system. We can credit their acquisitions in free agency. They have still had guys that they have picked up off of other teams' trash heaps that they turned into superstars with the Dodgers, right?
I want to say
Max
with
Muncy.
with the Dodgers, I want to point out that, like, as much as we discuss how much, they've got all this money, they've got the ability to make mistakes, and that's all true, right? But as much as they have the ability to make mistakes, they don't make that many. Like, AJ Pollock has turned into a great signing for them, right? At first, it didn't look so good. He was excellent this year for them, right? They're trading for guys like Mookie Betts, who they're then willing to pay a whole bunch of money. That's probably going to work out for them because he's Mookie Betts, right? They're probably about to pay Trey Turner as well. That's probably going to work out for them because Trey Turner is a really good player who's worth investing in, right? So, like, they're making all these big moves, but I think we also have to be honest with ourselves that, like, the Dodgers make a lot of good decisions. It's not just that they're getting away with stuff. I think you could maybe make that argument several years ago when they were giving Matt Kemp all sorts of ridiculous money. That's not really the case anymore. Like the Dodgers make a lot of good choices. And like you just said, Derek, a lot of that is, picking up Max Muncy and turning him into, this superstar player, and picking up Chris Taylor for basically nothing from the Mariners, picking up Justin Turner for basically nothing from the Mets, right? Like, these are the kinds of moves that the Dodgers are built on. And as much as they have the ability to make mistakes, they don't. They're just that. They've just made that many good decisions over the last few years.
Right. And it's kind of like what we've talked about with the Diamondbacks, right? I'm sure the Rockies experience this too, but the Diamondbacks just have had a few players slip past us that then become good or even great. They're definitely better than they were here, right? So
Robbie Ray is officially a Cy Young finalist. So
yeah,
Mitch Haniger.
FYI.
Don't forget Mitch Haniger.
Just FYI.
Mitch Haniger too, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
However, though, like you said, there's also teams in the NL West like the Padres that tried to make moves and didn't even make the playoffs. I know not everybody's going to make the playoffs. The Giants had a crazy year that didn't really make sense for their team and their roster, but they just showed that you can still do it even when the expectations are low and not people aren't choosing you. Your payroll might not be the most in the division. I still think that the Rockies and the D-backs are in a much better position than like the Padres, who spent as much as they did to go nowhere. I just think the Padres are still going to be very good, if not better, in the next coming years. So that's something else that both of our teams have to contend with. It just feels exhausting, though. It really does. It feels like what you said, Patrick. That almost seems unfair that teams like the Rockies and the D-backs and other small market teams have to wait for some sort of weird moment of
magical
weakness. Door to open up where the team that is great isn't as good as they've normally been, and this team somehow can put together just enough, homegrown talent mixed with some guys that have performed well, maybe pick up a free agent or two and have enough to contend with the big dogs. It just it seems like it's constantly an uphill battle for this team.
The common bond between the three powers of the West, if you will, of varying levels, is finances, right? It's money.
It is.
Right? And the Padres are, I mean, for all intents and purposes, a small market club when you think about the fact that they're the only of the four major sports teams in the city of San Diego. And you go, oh, that's kind of a small market. But their owner has said, yeah, we're going to spend. We're going to put a lot of money out there. It's kind of like what you see in Europe when you have someone who is an oil baron or some kind of captain of industry goes in and says, I'm just going to buy a club from the championship league the Coca-Cola Championship level in England, and then take them up to the Premier League. Spoiler alert for Ted Lasso watchers there. But it's about finances, right? And that's the biggest hurdle that smaller clubs like the Rockies and Diamondbacks really can't possibly overcome. And you've got to maximize as much as you possibly can, which sometimes means getting every last morsel off the bone as possible. And that's not tanking, but that is saying, look, we don't want to get rid of John Gray. We love Trevor Story.
What happened
we've grown
with John
him.
Gray, Patrick? Can you explain? They've taken a lot of heat
Still
for that.
Figuring that one out.
Yeah.
The biggest thing going around is until he's somewhere else, he's not somewhere else. And so it doesn't mean that the relationship, the relationship isn't over. It's just that when the Rockies went to him and offered a reported 3 years, roughly $40 million, what they were doing was saying that, you're probably going to want 4 years. There might even be a team out there who will give you 5, probably not, but they're going to want 4 years. They're going to probably ask for 5. And at, $13.5 million, whatever it is annually, they were ultimately saying, even though you're a free agent and could potentially negotiate with 29 other teams, we think you're just as valuable, if not maybe even slightly less valuable than Germán Márquez, who, they signed a few years before his free agency, bought out some arbitration years, as well as a couple years of free agency. Antonio Senzatella, who signed the 5-year, $50.5 million contract. And so at the end of that deal, he'll be getting essentially what they were offering John Gray. And these were players that were not free agents yet. So when you enter into that fray, you should be getting more money. And I think, the thought by his agents and himself was that, he's worth more than that. Now, I still think John wants to play in Colorado. I don't think this was a total slap in the face. And one of the things that owner Dick Monfort said this past year after the Nolan Arenado deal is, letting go of DJ LeMahieu was a mistake. And that was a situation where they had offered him something. His agents, kind of rebuffed and said, we think he's worth a little bit more. Now, he didn't get more in the market, ended up getting the same thing that as Daniel Murphy did, 2 years, $24 million. Structuring of the deal was slightly different, but didn't get that deal. And that was really when the wheels started to fall off this. And the Rockies couldn't straighten it out, get back to the postseason in 2019. So we'll see if ownership maybe has learned from this and says, yes, I guess we need to make this one right and pay him a little bit more than anticipated.
The thing about Rockies fans, that their frustration with the team is, and again, we've talked about this weird stance. I've talked about it with you, Jesse and I have talked about it. The diehard Rockies fans are upset that the stadium is filled with people and the owner isn't spending money, and they feel like people coming out to the games sends the wrong message. What I'll say from an outsider perspective on that, mixed with what I know from the Arizona Diamondbacks, I went to more Diamondbacks games this year, unfortunately, than I ever have. And I know for a fact what I've seen with my own eyes. I know for a fact that sometimes when that announcement comes on in the press box and says tonight's attendance is 6,742 people, I don't believe that that's accurate. I'm like 6,000. Let me go count, right? Because they're taking into account like season ticket holders that aren't there that night, whose tickets they didn't necessarily punch, and other things like that. Like they're typically saying tickets sold, not necessarily people that are there in the building, tickets that were scanned, right? So on some nights, it's not even that small amount. Meanwhile, I'm looking at the attendance figures for the Rockies. I'm seeing the games and pictures from the games. It looks like a great time in Colorado. I would love to see the stadium filled like that, despite how bad or good the team is doing. I also understand from deep down in my soul that there is a part of me as a fan that would also be asking, where the hell is my money going if you guys refuse to spend it on the team, right? Like, we come out, we support, we're here, we're buying merch, we're doing stuff, we're shopping across the street at the cool mall thing. Like, you guys have a great environment, a great, night out in that area. So why aren't you taking the money I'm giving you and spending it on the team?
I am not in the Montford family to be able to answer that, because you're right.
No, give me answers. No, I know.
No, you're right.
That's like, because at least with the D-backs, I know that they're not getting that money, right? I can look with my eyes and be like, yikes, this team's kind of in trouble as far as finances go, because if they can't bring people into this building, I know they have a television deal. I know they have other sources of income. I get all of that. But, getting fans in the seats at a stadium is still a big part of, the revenue for teams. And when, the stadium is as empty as it is, you can understand why they spent almost $200 million less than the Dodgers as far as payroll went last year. But the Rockies, it's still, I can completely see how it would confound fans where the money is going, and why isn't this team, when they have young talent, trying harder to supplement it, make this a good team. Yeah,
I'll say this: the Rockies have spent, fairly well. It might even be surprising to know that in the late 2010s, in 17, 18, 19, they were around like the 10th highest payroll, maybe like 10th and 12th. They were right in there. So, sure. Again, that was what happened when you spend close to $200 million on those free agents, because what's coming, and that there's kind of a boom, right? Since 2013, since the legalization of marijuana, there's been a lot more of a boom. And I think people also just realizing how beautiful Colorado is. Similar to Phoenix area, like there's just so much expansion. The pandemic has made that happen. And so after 2020, ownership, I think, decided to take a step back a little bit with payroll. It was, I think, maybe 22nd. So took a big step back, and that big step back had to do a lot with their star third baseman, Nolan Arenado, which, is a topic for a whole other day, and why an opt-out clause was even thrown into his contract in the first place when he, the player, and his agents didn't even ask for it. But that's a conspiracy for another day. Derek, you will love this one, and we'll have to talk about it this week. My thinking is we had a Bret Hart situation where it was a lifetime contract for $1 million, and then, hey, we know full well we just need to keep you around for a short period of time.
We can't pay you that. Yeah.
Yeah, Jesse, we'll explain what that is.
Jesse will hip you to
on another podcast.
The Montreal screw job. We'll teach you all about all sorts
of
the
Hart family dungeon.
Yeah,
all these wonderful things. But they cut back
we'll
payroll.
Start with Canada and work our way down as far as wrestling knowledge goes. There's a lot to deal with in Canada, though. The Calgary Stampede wrestling. There's a lot to teach you about.
We'll get to all that. Yeah, they cut back payroll in 2021. They're back to Gray, the qualifying offer seems like it could have been strange, because if they were going to offer him close to $14 million in a 3-year deal, 18.4 isn't that much more than that.
Yeah,
so
sure. That's
would that have really like derailed the plans? Because they kept saying, hey, we're gonna add a power bat to the lineup, at least one. So you knew at that point, you go, all right, you're gonna add maybe 35 million to payroll. I think that's on the high end. Maybe they were thinking they were going to get a cheaper option. They do a good job with some non-roster invites. I mean, look at what they got out of CJ Cron this year.
Sure.
Signing him now to a 2-year deal, so he'll be back the next 2 seasons. So, maybe they were going to go John Gray and then a cheaper bat. Jorge Soler is one of those players that, at least before the World Series,
Jorge Soler would be pretty fun in Coors Field.
He would be fun. And then the next offseason. The next offseason is when they're going to start, bringing things back up, and you might see them in the low teens. So they do spend that money. I will give them that credit. How they spend it is partially the difference between them and the Padres right now.
That makes the difference. It's made a big difference in the Diamondbacks history. Let me tell you, sometimes they swing for the fences, but it seems like they don't realize that one big contract for a ace, starting pitcher isn't necessarily enough to get you where you need to go. But you guys can get where you need to go, obviously, using the DraftKings Sportsbook app. DraftKings is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. They're also a sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers right now can bet just $1 on either team to score and can win $100 in free bets, and that counts for both NBA games and NFL games. You get $1 on either team to score, and you can get $100 in free bets. You can also lay down some money on some same game parlays. I, of course, besides being the mayor of PHNX, I'm also Mr. Parlay. I gave myself that nickname, like all of the nicknames I give myself. But you can combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. Jesse asked me the other day, you can combine multiple bets from multiple sports for a bigger
It's
payout
wild.
when it comes to parlays.
It really is.
It really is. You know what? Just pepper in a Coyotes loss with all of your other betting, and it'll just give you some.
It'll just pad it a little bit.
Just give it some, just more legs you add, the more money you win. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want, like I do at 2:00 in the morning when I get up and I say, "Give me my money." But download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use our code of PHNX, and again, bet just $1 on either team to score, and that goes for the NFL or the NBA, and you can win $100 in free bets if they score. 21 and over only, Arizona only, gambling problem, dial 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only, eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And Patrick, of course, was complimenting Jesse's wonderful article, as I have over on GoPHNX.com. You guys can become a member over there. You can either join the family, become a family member for an annual membership, which will get you a free t-shirt over at the PHNXlocker.com, or you can get the month-to-month option where you will get your first month for just 50 cents. I've kind of tried to hint at this before, but maybe before you sign up for an annual membership, go over to PHNX_Suns or _Coyotes and see if they might have a little offer to sweeten the deal for you to get your annual membership. PHNXlocker.com has some amazing shirts. I have just put in a huge order for myself. They're all for me. I didn't buy any for my family. I'm very selfish.
What did you get, Derek?
I got
5.
I got 5 shirts, Jesse. I got 5 shirts.
Damn.
You don't want to know. Do you want to know? You don't. No, none of them
No,
are
I
the
don't.
D-backs shirts. Yeah, of course. I got the Cardinals one. I got that sweet Coyotes, Howling Coyotes job. I got the Gorilla one, again, that's based on my PWG tattoo right there.
Right.
And the gray flag one. And I think one other as well. The Cardinals ball. The Cardinal on the ball.
Okay.
I got 2 of those.
Jesse, let me say 2 things about that. One, a lot of folks in Denver a little jealous of the shirts you guys have at PHNX. I think it's also because we're used to seeing the same colors, that brightness, that a lot of reds going on in there. And 2, we know a lot's going on with the supply chain, and I've seen the stock that we have. It comes to the bar, comes to the DNVR bar in Denver. So I know we've got the stock. People don't have to worry about that for the holidays. Put in your order. You're not going to find out 2-3 weeks later.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? That gift I was hoping to get somebody, the biggest, Arizona sports fan I know. Now they're going to be disappointed. No, they're not. If you go to the PHNX locker.
That's right, buddy. That's right. Give, this holiday season, give a membership. Maybe someone would love a membership. It's a great gift idea this holiday season. Give someone an annual membership, and it'll come with a free t-shirt with them. It sounds like you're the hero of Christmas or the holidays, if you ask me. But again, we appreciate you guys checking out, being a member. And of course, we appreciate Patrick keeping an eye on our shirts over at the DNVR. Of course, we're obviously jealous of you guys because of that bar. You have a bar. Do you know, when we get a bar, I'm going to live there. Jesse is going to hate it. I'm going to make him come to the bar for everything. He's going to be like,
come to the bar.
He's going to be like, can we talk text messages? I'm like, no, come down to the bar. We'll meet in person because this is where I live now.
Yeah, it opens a lot of doors doing that, where you can have your business meetings right there at the bar over a Breck brew, whatever it may be. So it's fantastic. And like I said, that's kind of where all of our back stock, as it were, all the shirts and stuff get out of. So it's a little bit of everything there, and of course all the great Denver businesses we have in the area is fantastic. And you know what? Because I want people to start following me from Phoenix and get some interest in the Rockies. Follow me at Patrick D. Lyons. Here's a hack. If you don't want to pay for a membership, you may. This is a may. If you get a tattoo of the PHNX logo,
I'm
pretty sure you get a free lifetime membership.
Oh my God.
This is something that has gone down in Denver.
There has been some rumors of this offer floating around in a chat or two that I am a part of. So I don't know if it's official, but I just want to say this is the same network where I started calling myself the mayor, and then Espo came in and appointed me the mayor. So
crazier things have happened.
I say go get your PHNX tattoo, flash it to somebody at this website, and I'm sure that you will become a lifetime member. I mean,
You'll figure it out down the line. Yeah. Don't let the details get in the way.
Go get the tattoo first, and then we'll figure out the rest of it.
And you can trust this from a guy whose nickname, at least in Denver, is Big Papa Parlay.
Yeah.
We also call you that as well.
Oh my God. See,
I don't know if you heard that one.
I didn't know that. Holler if you hear me. Big Papa Parlay. I love it. Jesse, we need to knock this guy down a peg or two, right? So I don't know how well we're gonna do here, but I think it's time for us to get wrapped up in a little thing we love to do around here, which it's time to do some snake drafting. It's snake drafting time. And of course, in honor of our friend Patrick being here, and of course, in honor of our two teams, which are hand in hand miserable at the bottom of this division, we're going to today snake draft a wonderful category that Patrick came up with himself, which is we are going to snake draft the best Arizona Diamondbacks / Colorado Rockies players. In order to qualify for this draft, the player must have played for both the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies. That's the only rule. And believe it or not, we have a list of 63 players who have played for both the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. I had no idea. If you would have told me 12, I would have said, sure, sounds right. 20, yeah, you're getting there. 63, holy crap. And that doesn't even count like our former pitching coach, I don't believe, which was also part of both squads. So these are actual players that have played for both teams. And I went ahead and kicked in a draft order stacking automatic thing. Of course, you'll tell here I lost because I am picking last with the first pick in this draft. It is Jesse. So Jesse, it's all on you now, buddy. Who do you have as your number one overall pick in this Rockies D-backs draft?
I honestly did not want the first pick because it is
like
almost
Mike
impossible.
Like I don't want the first draft pick.
I feel Mike in that position right now.
Too much pressure.
Because too much pressure. Too much pressure on me.
How about this, Jesse? Let's take some pressure off you, okay? Because I don't like you feeling this kind of pressure for a friend of mine.
Sure.
So you can trade me the first pick, and I, in exchange, will give you Shelby Miller.
What is happening? No, Jesse, don't do it. Don't listen to him. This is a bad man. This is a bad idea.
That's a really tempting offer.
Don't do it, Jesse.
Very
tempting.
I swear to God, whoever you pick will end up hitting at least 2 home runs in the World Series 3 to 4 years from now.
No, that's ridiculous, Patrick. I'm not going to do that. All right. So I am going to take a player that, frankly, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. This is a pretty hard call to make. Like, who is the best player that has played for both teams? Wow. But I know one player who is kind of viewed. I guess I can't really speak from the Rockies side as much, but I know on the Diamondbacks side, this player is viewed with all sorts of respect. And I suspect it's the same thing on the Rockies side. I am taking utility infielder Daniel Descalso, number 1 overall. Give me Daniel Descalso.
What is wrong with you?
What is 6 words I never thought I'd hear? The first overall pick, Daniel Descalso. Is that? Yeah, that's about right.
There you go. There you go.
Oh my God.
I stand by that, Derek. I stand by that. You can hate on it all you want.
I'm going to hate on it. I'm going to hate on it for days after this. Go ahead. You're next, Patrick.
All right. This is tough. I'm going to go with a guy that, he's a lot more of a Diamondbacks guy than a Rockies guy. But you know what? He was a part of that World Series club in 2007. Didn't get into the postseason, so he does have a postseason pedigree. So for my first pick, I'm going to go with outfielder Steve Finley.
Oh, Steve Finley.
Got to give it up for him. 153 home runs with the D-backs. Most of any D-backs Rockies guy. D-Rocks. I think this should be called D-Rocks. The D-Rocks draft.
All right, we can do that. D-Rocks draft. Great.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I guess I'll take 2 picks here. And I don't like these picks. Not one bit. I don't like anything that I'm picking here.
You wish you could take Daniel Descalso, don't you, Derek?
I really do. I know I'm gonna butcher this man's name, but let's first go with Mark Reynolds. I'm gonna go with
Ooh.
Mark Reynolds for
Solid
the power.
pick.
For the power and not for the strikeouts. I'm not going for the strikeouts. I'm going for the power. And I'm also going to take as a pitcher, excuse me if I'm butchering this, Yolis Shashin. Is that how you say it? Am I close?
I think so. Here's the thing. I always said Chassin.
Chassin?
I think it's
in the
Chassin.
press box.
All
In
right.
the press box, a couple of the new people that we had kept saying Shashin or
Chassin. Yeah.
Really?
Chassin.
Well,
Rather
it's
than
like
Chassin.
like Jesse and I were talking about Ciccone, right? For Slade Ciccone.
Yeah, you're like afraid to say it now, Derek.
I am. Okay,
Every
I'll say it
time
the
you
way
say
that
it.
like Ciccone. You know, I gotta try to put something behind it. Like I feel, and then when you hear it in the press box, it's just a very civil Slade Ciccone. You know, and I'm like, I don't know if you're saying it right. I don't trust.
I think you're on track there, Derek. I
All
think
right.
it is.
Thank you.
You keep the Italian flair in there.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. All right, Patrick, back to you. Pick
All right,
number
we got a pitcher off the board. So I'm going to go with a guy kind of known for making his mark more with the Rockies. In fact, he's considered to be the greatest Rockies pitcher of all time. And no, it's not Ubaldo Jimenez. No, it's not John Gray or Herman Marquez. But by some statistics and metrics, if you will, that would be Mr. Jorge De La Rosa.
Ah, that's a good one.
JDLR. That's who I thought you were going to go with, Derek. I mean,
I know it
you
was
had very good numbers at
Shashin
Coors Field.
Oh yeah,
and it would have been better for your pronunciation guide too.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Easier.
You're right. Well, no, it goes better for the fact that I'm terrible at pronouncing names. That I took one that I can't pronounce. All right, Jesse, you got two names.
All right. Okay.
Well, actually, you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna have you pick one, and then we're gonna just remind everybody about DraftKings, and then we'll get back to this draft.
Right.
Breaking up his flow. Oh, you're doing it during his pick. I see the dynamics here, Derek.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
Also, you both get to participate in the snake draft. I don't. I'm in the middle, so I don't get.
You were complaining about it earlier. You're like, I don't like the name of this show. Snake drafting.
Circuitous drafting.
You know, when we come to your show, call it, a rock fall or something. I don't know. Rockwell. Jesse, let's get at least one pick from you.
All right. I am going to go with a guy who is really kind of a legend in the Diamondbacks fan community. Honestly, I didn't really even remember that this guy apparently played for the Rockies at some point. I am taking former Diamondbacks fan favorite Eric Burns.
Oh,
because who doesn't
terrible
love Eric?
I want to burn your team to the ground.
Eric Burns is a hero of mine because I'm pretty sure he finished Western States, which is a race. It's basically like Boston Marathon, but instead of it running on the streets for 26 miles in the mountains of Northern California. It's an ultra marathon. It's fantastic.
It's crazy. Yeah, a friend of mine is an ultra runner like that. He does a lot of events, and he got me into actually even following and watching some of them, which is something I never thought I would do. But to be honest, it's way more interesting than NASCAR, in my opinion. It's a much better race with so many different variables, and some of the stuff that happens is actually insane, like wild animal attacks and weird shit like that happens.
Nations.
It's pretty wild. But anyway, like I was saying, I need to break up this good talk, and I just want to remind you guys again, it doesn't matter. NBA, NFL, you go on to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use our code of PHNX, and simply for betting $1 on any team, no matter what sport it is, to score a single point, you will get $100 in free bets instantly. You take those free bets, you turn around, you bet them on the Coyotes to lose. Once again, it's the only advice I can give you right now. Baseball season isn't going right now. The AFL won't let me bet on them. They frowned upon it. They actively told me at the events to stop doing it. I was just going up to people in the stands. They were like, you have the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Get on that. So go on the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use our code once again at PHNX, and you will get $100 in free bets for betting on pretty much any team in NFL or NBA to score a single point. All right, Jesse, round 3, snake drafting, back to you.
All right.
Let's see what other terrible names can you add to your team that I want to burn to the ground.
So critical of my
I know.
team. My gosh.
I don't like it one bit.
All right. Well, we'll see what you think of this pick. So I'm taking another Diamondbacks legend who, honestly, more so than he's known as a Diamondbacks player or a Rockies player, is probably known as one of the better big league managers in the game today. He is currently a manager, and that is none other than Craig Counsell, who is a big part of the Diamondbacks 2001 squad, and is very, very highly thought of as probably one of the best managers in the game right now. So, Derek, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
I like that one. I like that one. All right. Patrick, back to you.
That was a great pick. Great pick. All right. I'm going to go with a guy who's, I'm not sure if he's beloved from the D-backs. I'm going to think he is, because he's got to be beloved everywhere he goes, whether it's Washington, D.C., or whether it's Tokyo, Japan. It's the man who in Colorado loved riding around on a scooter. It's Gerardo Parra.
I love Gerardo Parra.
He's a great guy, great ambassador for the game.
I won't lie, that was my next pick.
Jesse's been doing that to me all this whole draft so far. But you know what? He's so well respected too that he essentially was done this season. I'm not even sure that he was hurt, but you know what? He was on the IL for the Nats, and when they came through in Colorado in September, he was there, sitting at the edge of the dugout during batting practice, saying hi to his former teammates, and standing right next to him, 22-year-old Juan Soto, just like a little puppy dog. And so that's the kind of guy he is. That's the kind of leader of men that Gerardo Parra is. So I'm glad to have him on my team.
Man, I absolutely love that guy as a member of this team. I really did. For me personally, he was my fan favorite. He was my favorite guy.
He really was. He was very much beloved. I think he homered in his first at bat. And ever since then, everyone just loved her. He was a great defender. He was great with runners in scoring position. He was really clutch. It was, all
of that stuff. Yeah, he would get running dry. He would get the things going when there was, get on base with a walk and steal second, and then next thing you know, they had something cooking. He was always one of those guys that got the offense rolling when no one else could. And just an absolutely great defender. Somebody who we definitely the Diamondbacks fans definitely saw leave before we wanted to. All right, I'm gonna make my two picks really quick and easy. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna placate to the Diamondbacks fan base a little bit, and I'm gonna placate to the Rockies fan base a little bit. I'm gonna take Chris Iannetta, and I'm gonna take Tony Womack.
Very nice. I like that. Womack, more obviously for the D-backs, but did have a spell with Colorado. The Iannetta one is a big one. He definitely was due to come off there at the end of round 3. I respect that.
Yeah, I love both of those guys, but I think for me personally, both of those names are very attached to, like you said, Chris with the Rockies and Tony Womack with the Diamondbacks. I mean, I can't even think of Tony Womack being with any other team despite the career he had. It's just he was such a big part of that 2001 World Series team.
All right. So I'm up next. I need Jesse as you go next. Are you going for more bigger name? Are you looking to just get the best overall player? Come on.
He's trying to steal your pick next, Jesse. Don't let him do it.
You cut out for me, Patrick. Are you trying to figure out what's going on in my head right now? You trying to play the system? What's happening right now?
Jesse, don't make any notes on the sheet. Don't make any notes that he can see on the sheet.
On our shared document. I just might have to remove shared privileges. Okay, Jesse, and really watch you scramble, reaching for Greg Colbrun or Jorge Julio. I'll do it if I need to. Shoot. All right. Greg Colbrun doesn't sound too bad.
No, he's not. No, he had pretty good batting average with both teams too.
310 with the Diamondbacks, 311 with the Rockies. So
it's pretty
come to think of it. I got two guys on the list that were an all-star with Colorado. One of them is going to get me in trouble. The other one, not as much, but all right, I'll go with Jeff Cirillo. Now, didn't play very much with the Diamondbacks. I think he finished up his career there in 2007, only 28 games, but was an all-star that first season in 2001 in 2000 with the Rockies. So, he doesn't get talked about too much because he only had a 2-year stint before he hit free agency. But, is a part of a long line of great Rockies third basemen between Vinny Castilla, Josh Fuentes, opening day third baseman, and his cousin. That's how we refer to him, as Josh Fuentes' his cousin, or the cousin. Sometimes just the cousin.
The cousin. All right, Jesse, your final 2 picks. Make them good.
All right, so I'm going 2 in a row here, right?
I don't know if they can live up to your Descalso pick, but we'll see.
He still would have been on the board. He still would have been available, Jesse. Realize that now. Is that he could have been a 5th round pick. Unless there's something to do with allocated money, like, you're going to take some of the money for Descalso, bring it to the back.
Jesse needed a utility infielder is what he needed. He was playing to his needs for his team.
I really did. No, I honestly just have kind of an irrational love for Daniel Descalso because
we all do in Arizona for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he was just, when the Diamondbacks were good in 2017, like, it wasn't like he was batting 3rd in the lineup every day, but he was just such a big part of their success that year.
But didn't
he
bat 3rd? He bat 3rd. He did bat 3rd at one point during that season.
Oh,
I remember
I'm sure.
Point he was doing so well that they put him up there.
Yeah. No, he was a huge part of the lineup, especially anytime the Diamondbacks were facing a right-handed pitcher. And even in the playoffs, I think they really leveraged him. Anyway, I'll stop justifying my Daniel Descalso pick because I don't need to, because it was the right pick first overall, no matter what you say. All right. I'm gonna go with a guy who, frankly, is not necessarily that well known for their time with the Rockies or the Diamondbacks, but they're quite accomplished in their own right. I'm gonna take Will Harris, who is an excellent relief pitcher. He was okay with the Diamondbacks. I don't know. Apparently he was with the Rockies before that. Was he okay in Denver, Patrick?
Was
it was a super short stint. That was, I think, when he made his major league debut with the Rockies. So he's one of those names when the postseason comes around, people say, hey, who are some ex-Rockies players in the postseason?
Yeah,
you kind of forget him.
Always there.
Yeah, Joe Bimel is another one. It was like, yeah, he was with the Rockies for a little while, so can't forget him. So I think that's a nice selection.
All right, there you go. So Will Harris, that's my number 4, and then round 5. I'm kind of torn between a couple names here. I'm gonna go with a player who was actually quite beloved in Arizona for a time, and then he kind of fell off, and then he later circled around, wound up with Denver later on in his career, pretty recently here. I'm going to go with Chris Owings, who was a Diamondback for a few years. He was a top prospect in Arizona for a while. Kind of fell off there in the middle years. Overall, his career hasn't really panned out like I think a lot of people have hoped for, but he's had some good, decent stint in Denver, and he's certainly still not done yet. So something to be said for a career that has lasted as long as his has. So there you go. There's my number 5.
I did think about going with Owings, but he's been really hurt with Colorado. But when he's been healthy, he's actually been really good. And I think he's one of those players that Colorado would love to bring back. Again, probably gonna be on a minor league deal as he gets himself healthy, but is definitely on that good list. And 5th pick on your club today, but one of D Rockies and Kansas City Royals, he's going to go number 1 overall. But until that day, we'll focus on the D-Rocks. And man, you know what? I'm going to make it easy for you here, Derek. I'm going to tell you who I'm not going to pick. It's not going to be Levon Hernandez or Byung-Hyun Kim. It's not going to be Quentin McCracken.
All right.
And it's not going to be McCracken? It's not going to be Jordan Pacheco, who we love in Colorado.
Ooh, I do love me some Jordan Pacheco.
Or All-Star and 2-time Silver Slugger Award winner Mike Hampton. I would be kicked out of the state if I were to draft him. Mm-hmm. But you can. I instead am going to draft Armando Reynoso.
Oh.
Now Reynoso was a part of that inaugural club and was really good. Pitched back when they played baseball at Mile High, which wasn't actually a football stadium. It was a minor league ballpark. The Denver Bears played there, AAA ball club for the Yankees, exposed Reds for a very long time, and then they converted it into a football stadium where the Broncos would play. And so Reynoso, an underrated guy, I think, for both clubs in many ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you think you know me so well as you know who I'm going to pick, and you start giving me all these ideas. Well, guess what? You do know me very well. I am going to pick Mike Hampton because I'm going to go for it. I want to win. I don't care about the performance. Did he even play a single game as an Arizona Diamondback? I don't know, but they acquired him, and that's enough for him to qualify for this draft. Mike Hampton's my final pick. Let's go. Let's go.
Mike
we
Hampton
already
played...
know Jesse lost, so this is between you and me, Patrick.
Oh my God.
10 games for Mike Hampton. And I can tell you, Jesse can tell you his pitching line in all 10 of those games. Go ahead. Start with the quality starts. Go ahead. The brain, baby. He knows it all. He's got it in there.
Not that far back.
No.
I mean,
he was in like 6th grade back then. Jesse had school and stuff to deal with, but
I have no recollection of Mike Hampton being on the Diamondbacks. Frankly. Well, I really don't remember that at all.
It happened.
Those are sometimes the best and most exciting players. Like when you go, especially again, talking about World Series, you look and say, all right, who played one game with this team and is going to win a ring? Like Jonathan Lucroy played 2 games with Atlanta, played a couple more with the Rockies. And so you say, hey, that guy's gonna get a World Series ring. And so every year that's always fun to look at, and who you either forgot played with your club or who you almost never even knew did.
No kidding.
Yeah,
kidding. Right. Especially when they were with your club well before, they got hot or became a name. And then you're like, oh, wait, is that the same guy that was? But hey, Patrick, we want to thank you so much for joining us. You guys are going to get not just one helping, but a second helping of Patrick Lyons.
This Thursday. We have to have him on again.
Yeah, he's coming back on Thursday. Yeah, he's bringing the sunglasses in studio. So Patrick Lyons will be with us. I think we're going to have a return of the Mac on Thursday's episode as well. So looking forward to that. You guys can follow us all on social media. Big shout out to our buddy Patrick from the DNVR podcast. You can get Patrick at Patrick D Lyons. You can get me at Cap_Caveman with a K. Of course, you can get Jesse at Jesse and Friedman. Our show is at D-backs_ or PHNX D-backs. But all roads lead to at PHNX _sports. And that is on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you're listening to us right now on your favorite audio podcast, please subscribe there. Leave us a 5-star review and jump over to YouTube and subscribe over there and sign up for notifications. You'll get all this hot, fresh, baked Arizona content from all of the different all the beats that we got going on over here with Arizona. Again, you guys can sign up to become a member over at gophnx.com. We'd love you for it. Our code at DraftKings Sportsbook is PHNX. Go over there and make yourself some money. Patrick, again, we thank you so much for joining us, my man. We appreciate you guys for joining us. On behalf of Jesse and myself, baseball's fun. But remember, kids, it's way more fun when you bet on it.